welcome to the Slammers podcast. I am Beau, joined by my co-host Ben Litt. It's been a few weeks now. The guys have been pretty busy playing golf, working. We got a lot to catch up on. We're going to try to get through it all.
Yeah, it feels like we're overdue for one of these things.
It really does. May's a jam-packed month.
Yeah, a lot of balls flying around.
Yeah, you got the U.S. stuff, you got the Jersey stuff, you got Gap stuff, you got Pub Links. I mean, there's just like everything's in full force. Where do we want to start?
We start Gap matches, kind of tie a bow on the season.
Yeah, let's do that. Last time we met, we did some predictions. Mm-hmm. And I think we'd be remiss not to mention that they weren't great.
No, I'll be the first one to put my hand up with that Philly Cricket 1 prediction. Just, that stunk. If I was hanging a line, I probably would have lost my job as a bookmaker.
I mean, 2 years back-to-back, great regular seasons, and then two big stinkers like that.
Right, just can't get over the hump, I guess? I don't know.
I mean, teams that come to mind, right? The 23 Boston Bruins, right? Mm-hmm. The 22 Dodgers.
Right. I think we'll be
the 01 Mariners.
We'll be there shortly with the 2024 Celtics.
Yeah.
I think they're really ripe for
you think
just
so?
a boat race. Yeah.
You think Dallas takes them out?
I think so.
You really do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
yeah.
Interesting. I think that Dallas team stinks.
Boston hasn't shown me anything.
I think that Dallas team stinks. I don't know.
I think they're both very flawed.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think the Celtics got them, but
okay.
At least one of us will be right.
Sure.
But yeah, it's starting to look like you can almost put the 24 Cricket 1 team in that category. I mean, man, what a stinker those guys laid.
Yeah,
they lost to Lulu's 2 team.
Yes, by half a point. But just to bring everyone else up to speed here, in the AA playoff, right between Lulu's first and second team, Huntington Valley 1 team, and the Philly Cricket 1 team, Lulu 1 topped it out at 69.5 points to be the winner there. Nice. Huntington Valley 1 scored 66, Lulu 2 40.5. And then in the basement, Philly Cricket won it at 40 points there after kind of leading the AA in points scored, efficiency, all the metrics, all of the signals were saying that they were a bye. And then, yeah, just to no-show in this fashion again it's a tough one to swallow. It's a long time until mid-April next year, to think about that.
Yeah, you wonder if it's an atmosphere thing. They come into, to Lulu and can they just not play there? Is it just too much? Is the noise too much? I don't know. I mean, you wonder if there was 4 mainline clubs in that final.
Right, some blue bloods.
If they would have played a little differently,
right.
In little cozier atmospheres, maybe not as much hooting and hollering and drinking and all that, right? I mean,
right.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. But it doesn't add up. Like, on an individual basis, I feel like golf can be tough to predict. But
a lot of variance.
This team stuff, though, it kind of usually falls into place, right? You don't usually see, for instance, like if Lulu 2 played Cricket Club 1 in the regular season, like you would just be really shocked if Cricket lost to this guy,
yes.
right? Like,
yes.
Really surprised.
And no discredit to Lulu 2's team,
no.
Philly Cricket has been just so strong. They blow everyone out in the regular season. It's like, why would they lose, right? There's no reason for 12 guys to all...
And there's almost no reason it would even be close, right? To think it would even be like a really close match. You would just kind of just check that off as like, Cricket's going to, beat those guys. And yeah, it's something just doesn't seem to be adding up in that final. So I don't know. We'll see. I think last year they came in last as well, I'm pretty sure.
Did they really?
I'm pretty sure. It was either 3rd or 4th. I don't have the numbers up in front of me, but just another kind of no-show. So
it's, and you look at the teams that are in it, like, all of the Cricket guys have played Huntington Valley many times, right? All of those Cricket 1 guys have, like, they know what's good with Huntington Valley in the course, right?
This isn't like the 2009 Fox Hill team or something where they go up there and they just they get ambushed by Brandon Matthews or something, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, everyone's played Lulu, everybody's played Huntington.
Yeah, and Lulu's not. We've said this on previous pods. Like, it's not a very hard golf course. It's really out in front of you, generous off the tee. Like, it's not a place that will really lift and separate teams, right? It kind of brings everyone together more than pulls everyone into like their respective skill levels.
It feels like for those kind of players, it's a putting contest at the end of the day.
Yep.
Which maybe that's why. Maybe like Cricket's a big hitters club, right? And
right.
They got some guys that are longer, but maybe they struggle a little bit more with the flat sticks. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is here, but kind of see like the end of a dynasty happening. These are like the telltale signs that like this might be coming to an end.
Right. Yeah. Some players are getting old and expensive, and they still have their hand out for that next contract, right? And they're probably looking to cut ties at this point, right?
And you got some young guys that can play, but they're just not exactly what you thought they were going to be.
Right. And you're kind of have some debts from some draft picks, right? That you expended. Maybe rather frivolously at the height of the dynasty, right? You don't think the draft matters, and you didn't really care to develop these guys just because, hey, we're riding higher. It doesn't matter. We got our stalwarts, and then those guys get old and get off to the nursing home, and we kind of left the young guys to the wayside here.
Yeah, they had big shoes to fill, and they're not filling them. So next year we'll see. I think they'll probably be back in the final again, and it comes down to one day of golf. I'll say this: as hard as we're being on them, you can give them 2 free days. Right? Mm-hmm. You can chalk it up to variance. Hey, it's only 2 days of golf. They just happen to time it up on bad days. But if they do it again next year, that narrative's kind of out the window, in my opinion. At that point, there's a serious problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think, aside from the Philly Cricket 1 leadership organizationally, the only other leading storyline is going to be the Riverton 1 team as well. We obviously made zero noise during the regular season, not winning our division. Which feels like our team has what I would call an embarrassment of riches for a B team in our division, right? And just to totally underwhelm again is just it's such a sour taste.
It really is. There's not many B teams that have multiple guys that can medal in like qualifier or something, or make the cut or top 20 and something, right? Like most of these B teams are just
total pushovers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to sit there and be non-competitive is It's a really sad franchise.
It's moribund.
Trotting out that week 3, like we said, it was about as low as it gets.
Yeah. That was the last time we were recorded. That was I would say that was a low for us.
Yeah, everything. My golf morale is so much better right now than it was when we recorded last. Yeah, and that was fresh off of that day. And but hats off to Lulu, man. You got to give those guys some credit.
We made it this far without congratulating the winning team. But
that's
Rusky and the boys. They got the boys up. A lot of bulletin board material from the slammers, right? And they laced it up and delivered.
It seems like those guys, just the whole club and their culture, that they're really almost meant for these matches in a way.
Total gamers.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm saying. And the course fits that. Where like those guys could be good with the same team 10 years from now. Yeah. Right? Because they might hit it a little, but like they can put the ball in the hole, those guys. And the course doesn't really demand much off the tee, and they don't need to have a bunch of 20-year-old young bombers, right? They have some young guys, but like those old guys can still, like, you'd be shocked if Rusk wasn't still a really good player 10 years from now. Right?
A lot of games can age well at Lulu. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very good place to play for guys that are kind of trending into the older stages of their career.
Yeah, cricket's tough. Once I don't even think. You're still you still have some speed and you hit it far enough where you're not there yet. But like another maybe 10 years from now from you, or maybe a little more, right? Once you start creeping up to mid to late 30s and you just lose it a little bit, and you're just your back's a little different and you're not wailing at it, and you're hitting a 280 instead of 300. It's like that cricket club can really wear you out.
Yeah, you're just losing incrementally, like quarters of a shot everywhere, right? When you
can't compete against a young kid out there. It's a joke. Like, is it just you just cannot have 4 irons when they have 7 irons, or 6 irons when they have 9 irons. It's just
it's the difference between coming into for cricket with like 190 versus 220. It's just such a big difference. You
can't really compete at that 220.
Right, and especially with the kid that I would probably in my late 30s hitting like 5 iron at 190, they're hitting like 8 iron.
Exactly.
Or like 7 iron. It's not even close. So.
Yeah, we turn the page on gap matches. It's always a good way to kick off the season. It's always a sad ending for us, but it's always bittersweet because I'm always excited for the gap match season, but then I'm also like, thank God it's over, because every week 3 we're just playing for nothing. So
right, yeah, of course,
it's hard to really get up.
Groundhog Day all over again. I guess we would be remiss in saying for the gap scoring portal online, for those trying to follow along for the AA playoff with all of the matches, the 12 guys sending 4 to each club. The scoring portal on the Gap, or was it 3 guys to each club?
Yeah.
Right? The scoring portal on the Gap website is horrific. I can't. It's like I'm really going through like the abacus, and there are like multiple tables that I have to kind of triangulate to get what I'm looking for in terms of how guys played and who they played against. And
it's not that complicated of a format. It couldn't make less sense the way they did it.
Yeah, and
it's like I don't even think anyone. It would take you 10 or 15 minutes to really make sense of what like who beat who and how it all like. You can quickly see like okay, Jim Sullivan played really well, right?
Right.
But if you want to see like how well he played, you would have to check. You got to go to different pages and scroll down and like match it up.
Right. It's like the Russian nesting doll thing. I'm trying to go to like
yeah.
I'm on like a wild goose chase to find out who Mike Brown played. I don't even know, right? I have to remember, he was in the one slot at home, right? So I got to go find the away slot for the other. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know it's just for one day a year, and look, I don't know how much viewership they really get on that. So they probably just like same as last year, right? They just keep rolling it over. But if they have any extra budget left over for web development, like just fix that, right? I mean, that shouldn't cost much. That shouldn't be too big of a project,
right? And I would say probably just around the gap match stuff, the one last FU middle finger rock through the windshield was on our Riverton statement, getting that $46 charge from Laurel Creek that week 2 match. That's a hefty card fee. I don't really know where that came from, but yeah, $46 for, I don't even know, right? There's no paper chip. Like, what's going on there?
Some weird stuff that goes on over there.
Yeah. It was almost like, I mean, from the size of the charge, it was like we were on the hook for one of the Marty Dow's high noon pallets, right? I don't even know
how to chop it up for the Riverton guys.
Right. I only had one high noon over there. Like, I can't be on the hook for like 5 of these, right? For the pallet of 100 or whatever he was loading in there. God, I hope he wasn't at home that day.
Yeah, you almost wonder if that was a club rival kind of thing, right? We're in the same town, right? You wonder if Doylestown got that $46 charge. If they were just like, it's Riverton, like fuck them, charge them $46. Like just throw something out there, right?
Right. Yeah, and the lunch was fine, right? But again, not a $46
but either way,
day.
on the road. We don't foot the bill on the lunch. I mean, that's not right.
No,
like that's. I get things have gotten scaled back in the gap matches, right? We talked about it. I don't expect the steak dinner. Whatever. Whatever you give me, I'm happy with, right? It's nice that you. Sure. Like you don't charge me like that. I don't think that $46 is for the lunch too, right?
Yeah, but again, we have no way.
We don't know, but either way, like that's even lower if it was. I'd rather it be a $46 cart charge. I'd rather call up and they were just like, hey, we charge you $46 for the cart,
right? Versus,
hey, we charge you for cart and lunch.
Right.
If I'm getting charged for lunch, I'll just go to Tommy's down the street and get my own lunch.
Sure.
Right? I mean, I didn't,
no,
we ate it because it was assumingly free.
Yeah, and we knew some guys there, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, they got to revisit that. Whoever's on the board over there, you can't be charging guests $46 card fees. That's...
Yeah, it was a bittersweet end. As if the season couldn't have ended worse enough, but that kind of put the capper on a bad one.
That hurt. All right, so moving on. We've played in some qualifiers in the last couple weeks.
Yep.
You want to start at Coatesville?
Yeah, let's start at Seaville.
Your first time out there.
My first time out there. I'm not a big... Beau, I just want to preface this. I'm not a big, I hate the golf course because I played that bad there guy, right? But I think anyone with a modicum of golf course architecture would say that place is suspect at best.
Well, it's funny because I went on air saying I liked the place or I didn't mind the place. I forget my exact verbiage, but it wasn't. I was speaking pretty highly of it for a qualifying course.
Yes.
And I hit this shot on 18 there. It was my 9th hole.
Mm-hmm.
That from like 50 yards after one of my 5th punch outs. Right, I was down to 50 yards. And seemingly, no side spin, landed it just right of the flag, right? A little juice on it, thinking, it's going to be close. And I watched it like roll all the way off into the rough, and I thought, did I really go on air saying I like this place?
Yeah.
I mean, that 18th hole is the worst part of the course, right? So it made sense that thought came into my mind after that tee shot and after punching out, and then this goofy I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, I think I was thinking about this too because as I'm playing the course, I'm thinking, why do I kind of like this place, even though I know it's pretty much a dog shit course, right, from an architectural standpoint.
Yeah,
it really has a lot of character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And character isn't necessarily always good. Like, what's your definition of character?
That's a great question. I guess character is like an identity, a soul, like it knows what it is.
Okay.
Right? In that case. Like if you're trying to, like, you're not trying to be something you're not, right? You totally owned it.
You embody it.
Right.
Saying. Yeah, I like, for me, like, I guess, and everyone's definition is different. That's why I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
For me, it's like uniqueness, right?
Yeah.
It's like
and secure. I would say secure in the
uniqueness, right? Yeah. So that place to me is extremely unique. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's the character, and it has a ton of shot value out there. Mm-hmm. Like a ton of shot value.
Yeah.
There's no thoughtless shots really out there. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's some holes that aren't even like great golf holes, but they're actually well designed. Like the hole you no scope went out of bounds on 14, right?
Oh, 14. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good golf hole.
Absolutely.
Because you have to challenge everything kicks left to right. You have to challenge the out of bounds in order to hit the fairway.
Right.
You can flail right, but if you do, you're playing for bogey.
And who's the architect out there of record?
Finlay? Alex Finlay.
Yeah, I was about to say, because a funny thing from the qualifier, it looked like that back tee on 14, they just cut it that morning, right?
It looked like the guy just took the John Deere out there and just did a quick circle. I mean,
right. But again, on that tee though, Finley like puts the 9mm to your head and says, "Hey, can you hit the draw here?
Yeah.
Can you hit like the 10-yard draw that starts inside the pines on the right and draws and is able to hold that left to right canted fairway?"
It's a nut check, that hole.
It is. It is.
Are you gonna nut up? I fucking flailed right.
No, I mean
it was more of a mechanic thing than a thought process. I try to commit to the swing. I shut off the.
Yeah, and he mob style put one right behind my ear. I sniped it out of bounds. 360 quick scope, easy reload. Almost went out on the second one. Almost was a quick sleeve on that hole.
Oh my god!
But again, I was going down swinging. I was not just gonna blow some ball into the right trees and make 6 anyway.
Yeah, right.
I might as well just
that's
continue to fire.
Right. The only way you should have done that is if you were like 2 under through 13. You're like, just get one up the right and just play for
that was
bogey.
my fifth
That's
hole
the only.
today.
That's what I'm saying. There's no other reason you should play for that, especially as we talked about how low these qualifying scores are. Because 4 over was a pretty good score out there that day, right? Or was it 3 over got in?
It was 3 over.
3 over got in,
right?
And we had a couple buddies who got in as alternates at 4. That's why I thought 4, but. 3 is a pretty good score out there. You have to play good golf.
Because
there's no way to really fake it around and shoot 3 out there.
The greens are so small,
and you have to hit fairways out there.
Yeah,
and the fairways are narrow and they're canted, so it's very tough.
The greens are small, and I think some of the most challenging par 3s.
Oh wow!
I've played very much
demanding,
very much like 3.5s all the way around. Like you could be playing fine and bogey all 4 of them.
Yeah.
Right? Are there 4 par 3s? I'm going to keep myself honest.
Yeah, there is 4. There's 2 on the back.
There's 5.
Oh, there's
Yeah, there's 5, 2, 4, and 6.
There's 3 on the front, 2 on the back, and then 12 and 13.
12 and 13
are brutal.
Oh my god!
I got through those with pars. I was thinking I was good. I was like, that was our start.
Right.
I was 1 over through 4, and then I stunk. I ended up shooting 80. I was bad that day. I was an absolute spray gun. I hit 0 fairways. Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
First time ever, 0.
Yeah, and we had a buddy, Jack Wallace, a good player. He said he only hit 4 greens in regulation. Was it 4 or 5?
Yeah.
5 greens in regulation.
I hit 3.
Really? I would say
it was a really poor ball striking day. My chipping and putting was A1.
A1.
Yeah.
Just getting it around.
I mean, through 14 holes, I was only 5 over, so I thought I had a chance. Though I was like kind of around the cut.
Yeah.
And at that point, I hit 0 fairways and 2 greens.
Okay.
So I'm thinking this could be a miracle. Like if I can miss the next 4 fairways and greens and get up and down, I could qualify for something with hitting 2 greens and 0 fairways.
Yeah, and I would say as your round went that way, my round probably went the exact opposite. Probably hit 12 or 13 greens, I think, 38 putts. I would say my crowning achievement of the day was 12 and 13. Those 2 par 3s. Hit the green on both of them, 3-putted both, 3-wiggled both of them. For the folks at home that don't want to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the leaderboard to check my score, I fired the Ocho Cinco, the clean 85. Probably 38 putts, I would say. But again, no one really wants to hear about this real debacle, right? But what was the qualifying number?
74?
Yeah, 3 over. Yeah,
so cumulatively we were 17 shots off the cut.
Right. My score was closer to 1 million than the qualifying number. For sure. Like I was way closer to 1 million. No excuse.
And we have to say another year with another offer for the Slammers.
Yeah.
So Ben and Beau still have not played in a Philly Am. It's really sad.
I know
It's almost getting to the point where it's not getting easier. That's the scary thing.
Right. Yeah, I just want one time just to shoot 82-80 in that stroke play qualifying in the amateur. Right. Just give me that one time. Just go 162 around there. But one thing I do want to bring up, since I love the gas carts vibe out there.
Oh, man.
Just burning rubber, burning just dirt everywhere, the whole thing.
It's so chaotic out there in some spots. Like, there's carts backfiring on you. Like, like, there's no doubt in my mind somebody lost a shot on that field from, like, a backfired cart and a backswing, right? Like, because there's a couple collection areas there where there's, like, that one where it's, like, 7 green, 8 T, 13.
Yeah.
It's like, you almost need somebody there directing traffic.
Right.
Like,
right. Another big one was the par 5 on the back, the 15th hole, driving over to that tee from 14 and trying not to interrupt guys playing
10.
on 10
It's like
tee.
a speedway there.
10 green and 11 tee, right? Because those are pretty big.
Right.
Yeah, they're very close.
That's a big open stretch where guys are just opening up those gas carts. And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you go to Coatesville, when I think of Coatesville, like I think of the day and I just hear like those gas carts in my head. And there's something about just blowing around in gas carts that just gives you like, it's such an unserious vibe.
Yes.
Like that I don't know about you, but like that qualifier felt like a joke to me. No, it did. Like, and I'm not saying like, but it just felt like everything about it was like comical. Like my game, right? The gas carts,
right.
just the course.
My game was comical.
And the guys in everything about it was like very unserious.
I agree. And I would say to cap
off, you're
off,
playing in a twosome, like that's never.
I was. I'm not even gonna pretend to think that.
No.
Back,
I'm just saying, like, just the whole day was just. It's very, very weird.
Yeah. And even like, I would say the range was deeply unserious. Like I was blowing that 15th, that par 5. I'm pretty sure I was hitting drivers almost onto that green.
Oh, the 17th green.
Or the 17th green.
Yeah.
Like I was almost hitting people on that.
That's the biggest nightmare. It's almost like in the course notes, right? You tell someone, you almost, if you had a yellow ball to switch in on 17, like you would almost play it for one hole, because if you pull it left on 17, you can't even find. There were the guys in front of us who had like a mass manhunt for a ball. On to the left there, because there's a million range balls over there.
Right.
Just left of the green. Like in the bunker, there was 20 balls in the bunker.
Right.
Nothing gets my heart racing more than the Easter egg hunt through range balls.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like
as
soon as I see
the
that,
mind really races.
Oh, really quick. That clock, especially that 3-minute clock. I mean, now it's
right. It's like pinnacle, strata.
And then you have the knuckleheads in your group saying, "Are you playing a strata?" Like, come on, man! Like, just throw that thing out. Right?
I mean, when I got up to 17, that left bunker, there were so many balls in there.
That's what I'm saying.
It is like an Easter egg hunt.
I hate that. I hate it.
That is a bad vibe. I also wanted to not call out, because they're volunteers and whatnot, but on the 15th hole, like there's like the shit forest left, right, and the range left, and then on the right's like pretty open next to that 16th green. There was a spotter up there on the right.
Yeah.
I hit a ball right on 15, fine, whatever. It was just like over the guy's tree, like we yelled for, right, the spotter's up there. And there's nothing up there, It's just like some trees and then the 16th.
Yeah, there's literally nothing. I hit my ball up there, so I know there's nothing up there.
We almost lost a ball up there with the spotter right there. And we eventually found the ball like 10 feet from the spotter's cart. But at a certain point, we gotta have a conversation about some of the Gap volunteers and the quote unquote spotters. Yeah. Like I'm all for like volunteers, and it's not like, but again, when the ball is like 15 feet from your cart, like what are we even? And we the full thing. We signaled, and
my point with the spotters is I agree. It's like I'm really very appreciative that you took your day to come out here. It really is really nice. I know we can't run these events without these guys, and I hope to do that too. And I'm older and can't play, and I would love to show up and help out, right? But there's also like you're showing up to do a job.
Yeah, it's not just to hang out.
Right. It's not just to be in a cart and like. So that's my whole point. It's like at some point, it's like I'd rather there not be a spotter there, right? Mm-hmm. Rather than a guy who's there and you're like, oh, I kind of hit at that guy, like, and he's kind of like he's not signaling anything, like it must be fine to get up there, and he's just like, I have no clue, and you're just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're just making people angry, like. Yeah. Everyone who's played in this has had a crazy story with those guys, but it's just that we'll move on.
I got one more thing from Coatesville. Okay. One more like monkey business. What the hell's going on here? Was looking at the course analytics just because we're big data guys. The 10th hole played as the second hardest hole that day. I absolutely stunk. I basically topped my drive, and I had like a wedge in. Yeah. What's going on there?
No, I couldn't figure that out either. To me, that's like the easiest starting hole in America. Yeah, anyone's ever played there. It's just a straightaway par 5. There's absolutely zero trouble. I don't care how wild you are. You cannot lose a ball.
No stakes, minimal trees.
Straight away.
530 yards.
You even have a speed slot at 100 yards that you can just top one and roll it down to the green.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's speed slots like built into the hole.
Yeah.
Like just trying to get you to the green. And supposedly, I guess guys were telling me that, like, I don't know if you saw this in your group, but we were all left of the flag and just kind of play. It was very normal, like around the greens.
Okay.
But I guess if you went long right over the pin, it was really fast coming down or something. But those greens weren't even that fast that day.
And it was just blatantly
it just
obvious.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Like it was just blatantly obvious too if you're at the wedge, because I had like 75 yards in, whatever. It was blatantly obvious sitting up there. Anyone with a brain just immediately concludes right is fucked.
Right.
Like right's just like totally fucked.
Right.
So you're gonna make 6 or 7 if you miss this right.
I pulled it like 15 yards left because of that. Because I just knew like you can't.
Right, and I pulled it to like 25 feet and 3-putt. Right. Yeah. But I just don't know where the mistake happens on that hole. Like I can't believe
there was like 9s on that hole.
There
was like a few 9s.
There were 10 others.
10 others.
10 others.
And I think there was a few of them.
What are the others? Like, are they just dribbling the ball down the fairway? Like, I'm serious. My grandmother, who's 84 years old, could make like an 8 comfortably.
Well, that's a hole. Like, if somebody had a gun to your head, the whole hole, there's no way I'm making 9 on that.
6 birdies all day
on that hole. Yeah, I could see the birdies because it was hard to hit it close, and you figure a lot of guys are bailing left to 25 feet like us and just wimping it up. I get that, right?
Right, but still, like there were, just for reference, there were 5 birdies on 5.
That goofy, really hard. Yeah,
which is, I would say, one of the hardest holes in the golf course.
Yeah.
There's only one less birdie.
Yeah, doesn't that some of these qualifiers, they don't really shake out.
No, it's even the hole 13, the second par 3 had 6 birdies. Yeah. The same as that par, like it just doesn't.
You figure if you play that par 5 10 times and that 13 10 times, like you would think out of 10 times you birdie the par 5 once or twice, and you almost never birdie 13.
Right.
Like you can give me 20 balls there, and I probably wouldn't birdie it.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, 21 doubles, 10 others.
Yeah. I don't get that either.
No.
Next qualifier, what do we got? You want to talk about Little Mill for a minute?
Yeah, we can talk Little Mill.
Another one that you played in.
Yeah.
For the Gap guys that didn't know, there was a Jersey Mid-Am qualifier at Little Mill. And if you're a scoreboard watcher, I had so much fun watching the cards that day. Yeah,
it was...
Guys were just going completely bonkers out there.
Yeah, they went vertical.
And they had the tees, not like they played it tipped out, right?
No,
it's not like they tricked out the pins or anything. It's just...
Yeah, so we played white to blue, which I think is the hardest combination of the 9s.
Yeah, I would say now it is. Yeah, I would say that's fair.
I've always traditionally played red to white and stuff like that, but yeah, we played white to blue this time. Scores, it was a fine day. There was some mist, but again, it was like 75 and no really wind, really. It was perfect conditions. Again, just chucked up a total brick. I shot, what did I fire? 82? Yeah, couldn't keep it in the 70s again for this one handicap, right?
Wasn't that the day that was pretty windy though, or no? Not really. That wasn't that windy. That wasn't that windy. It was windy? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
No real excuses that day, huh?
No. I fired 82. The qualifying number was 77, so that's 5 over par. John Rudsill was the medalist, shot even par 72. So again, no guys in red figures. That's telling. Yeah, average score was 83.7. Okay. 7.4.
So you beat the average.
So I can hold up the strokes gained positive trophy in that regard. But again, no dice for me. A guy actually, I want to call this out. A guy in our group shot 5 over 77. Tyler Paquette never hit any lumber all day. Had a 2-iron in his bag, and he hit that off of every tee.
Just stung it around, yeah.
Everything, no matter what hole it was. We played par 5s that were into the wind. We played 9 into the wind, 9 blue into the wind. Doesn't matter. You know?
Oh, he had 2-iron.
He had 2-iron.
9 blue. Yeah.
And then hit like 5-iron or something in. Yeah, you got to applaud some of the patience and.
Yeah, he must have been doing a practice round for Commonwealth because that was kind of the formula there too.
Right. Yeah. But it is crazy to have 5 over. I think we would say based on the other qualifiers that we planned, that's a higher number.
And we don't want to call guys out directly, but if you look at the scores, there's a lot of really good players, like legitimately good players who shot 83 plus. Right. Plus handicaps, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like you get to those Jersey Pines and it just suffocates guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's just almost like you go there and it's just, as the day goes on, it feels like it's just getting tighter and tighter when you don't have a swing.
Right.
And I think that's what happens to guys, and they just kind of lose their mind out there. Because
Yeah,
like some of the scores just don't even make sense because
you take the oxygen out of the place.
Yeah, it's like you could think like the same guy would go out, you get his home course that day and shoot around even par or something, right? And then he goes out to Little Mill and shoots like 88.
And what was really interesting about this one, I think by the mid-afternoon, by like
the tournament was over.
The tournament was over.
That was incredible. That was the best. That's the best thing to say about it. It's the first time I've ever seen. So they sent out the morning flight. They only took how many spots? Very, very small.
12 in ties.
12 in ties. The number, like we said, was 5 over. It started getting harder as the afternoon went on. It did start getting windy in the afternoon. It got colder. And by the time the afternoon guys made the turn, the tournament was over. The guys were
everyone was out of the number.
Everyone was off the number, and there's no one's getting it back under. Right? Like no one has the game to go out there and rattle off 3 or 4 birdies, right? Like,
it's not out there.
There's a better chance of them running out of golf balls. So the scorers tents packed up, and it was like you basically just kind of blow the horn and just say, guys, it's just everybody come in, right? We'll give you $50 back.
It's like those elections, right? They've counted like 1 or 2 districts, and we just call the election for the incumbent, right? Yeah, we've seen enough, right?
They realistically could have called the event, and nobody would have cared. I'm like, thank God. Like, I was just right because usually you're hanging in there because you're one for pride, but 2 you're playing with a guy who's playing well, right, or something, or. You don't want to be whatever. But when everybody's out of it, it's kind of like, what the hell are we doing out here?
Yeah. I mean, so those 2 qualifiers went 85-82. Again, if you look at my gin revision, those are the only scores in the 80s, right? So
something's not adding up.
Right, exactly. Like I'm, at this point, the biggest fraud east of the Delaware at this point with my golf game. And I want to say this as well. So I want to preface this by saying I love my Nana.
Uh-huh.
She's probably one of the only reasons why I'm doing this podcast, just because she put a golf club in my hand at 2.
Yeah.
And she got me into the game and brought me to tournaments and whatnot, and has supported me through the years. The meanest thing she's ever did to me, and obviously she watches these scores, right?
Yeah.
And so I get back home from Little Mill, right? And obviously she just sees the calamity of my scorecards. She knows what happened.
What's she know?
Right, and she's showing up to the bomb scene. So I get up to my room, whatever, and on my nightstand, there are 2 Bob Rotella golf sports psychology books. Nana, I love you. That's easily the meanest thing she's ever done to me. Just what a tacit way just to say, hey, buddy, like I know
your head case. I know
you're not right upstairs. Like clearly you're not. None of this stuff is translating. So, yeah, just figured I want to call that out probably just to call it how low I was after these tournaments, just because it was humiliating, man.
Yeah, it really is.
And now I got to get into the Rotella stuff, and hopefully we can come back with the next qualifier recharged.
Yeah, you'll be back out there. You're good.
Yeah.
You're gonna make it happen. It's just it's just a matter of when, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's see what Bob says.
That's what Bob tells you anyway. Yeah. But I don't know. I know a lot of guys who read those Bob books and they still stink. So
I'm next in line, brother.
I actually don't know anybody they work for. Do you? Like, no. Really, like...
no. It's like confirmation. Like anyone reading those has no game like not going to turn around.
It's almost like the ultimate point of despair, right? At that point, right? When you're reading those books, it's like you might as well just sell your clubs.
Right. It's like those like copper knee braces or back braces. Right, like no one athletic.
Hanging by a thread.
Right. No one athletic is ever using these things and ever going to be making their joint pain any better. Right. They're done. Right. This is just a coping mechanism to kind of get you through it.
Right.
Yeah. That's where we're at.
Maybe you'll be the first guy I've ever met that's learned something from Bob. Right?
I wouldn't hold your breath.
Oh, man, that's great. Moving on, that was the Jersey Mid-Am qualifier. Back to all gap stuff, the AM qualifiers. So we talked about Coatesville. We had the Berwick Invitational up there.
Yeah.
Did you happen to have those results pulled up?
I'll get it.
Just to briefly touch on that. I mean, at this point, when we look at these Pocono things, you're just trying to like laugh at the number of guys that signed up, right?
Yeah, it looks like more of like a Rivers Casino Sunday daily poker tournament leaderboard.
In midsummer, where like everyone's down the shore or something, right? It's just like 30 degenerates signed up.
Yeah, so I got the Berwick results pulled up here. It looks like it was low 3 players and ties.
Mm-hmm.
2 over 73 cut it out of a field of probably, it's 20 guys.
20 fellas.
20 for 3.
Okay.
But 2 over 73 does it. So we'll see you guys in the Philly Am, I guess. Sure.
Because you know how much work goes into setting up a tournament, right? Like you got to go out there and do the pins, right? Like pre-tournament stuff, right?
Yeah.
You got to do the pins. You got to mark the hazards. You got to mark the tees, right? And then the tournament, you're setting up tents. You're setting up scoring. You're setting up like you're having the club host. You're having this whole day, and like if you close the club, there'll be like 5 cars in the parking lot.
Yeah,
right? There's like 20 guys there. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you went off split tees, you'd be done. You'd be out of tee times by 7:30. What is it? 7 tee times?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you went off at 7 a.m. off split tees, you're good by 7:30, 7:40. You can open up the course for member play.
Yeah, it's not even It's not even a blip. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just always cracks us up. But I guess that will just never get old for us. Everyone else is probably sick of hearing those jokes, but especially the Pocono guys. So that was 2 over, and then the next qualifier was at Ballamore, which is a South Jersey spot, Jersey Shore. Pretty good course. Have you played there before?
Yeah, I played there a few times.
Good qualifier course, I think.
I
would
agree.
sign up there. We had a conflict, I think, because was it Hollywood?
Yeah, the Jersey
It was done in Hollywood. Yeah, so we weren't able to go out there, but I would have gone out there, honestly.
Yeah, we had a pretty full field. I think it was about 100 guys. 2 over 74 was the cut.
Another 2 over, yeah.
Yeah, Oscar Maxfield and Jake Haberstumpf, co-medalist, 369, pretty clean around there.
I'll be curious to see what Oscar does in the actual tournament because he's one of Drexel's better players. He's from Utah, and that's why he's not exempt and had to qualify, right? New to the area, but it'll be interesting to see how he fares in the tournament. He'll definitely be one of the favorites, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
They made match play at the 4-ball. I think they lost today, 1 down, him and his partner. But obviously a really good player. So it was 2 over at Ballamore?
Yeah, 2 over, man. These things are getting tough.
And then the last one was Golden Oaks, which I think was 1 over.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. And Golden Oaks in the past has had some oddly low scores. I remember one year they had a open qualifier out there years ago, and I want to say the number was like 1 under, right?
Wow.
Maybe even 2 under. So they're known to have some lower scores out there. So, but yeah, so basically, to get in the M, now you got to shoot around even par. So there's a chance that you and I might never play in a Philly M.
Yeah, just totally shut out. I mean, it's worth calling out Ian Larson at Golden Oaks, 6 under, bogey-free 66.
It's a good round.
And they played, am I seeing this right? They played this at 7,000 yards?
It's weird because I've never played there. It's kind of far out there. It's near Reading. I looked at the Google Earth, and it's 7,000 yards, and it doesn't look like it's that wide open or that easy. Like, it looks like they have some some trees and some water. Like, I don't get why the scores are as low as they are out there always. There's something I'm not getting, I guess, but...
Yeah, you think a place playing over 7,000 yards in May.
But it's not one of those courses you look at, there's not a tree in sight. It's, like you said, you got some forests, you got some wetlands, it looks like. I don't know. I got to get out there one time. But, yeah, 1 over seems like a pretty good score out there.
Yeah, it looks like, scoring average is 76.6.
That's low.
Man, that's so low. Which it looked like a decently large field.
So that's it, though. That's all the qualifiers, right?
Yeah.
So the field is set for White Marsh. We'll have to preview that in our next episode. We both have some opinions on White Marsh and go through some holes. That'll be good.
Yeah, and then we have North Hills is the other.
I've never played North Hills.
Okay,
yeah,
I've played there.
Out there.
Yeah, more than a few times.
Got a little intel.
Yeah.
How was that place? Just high level. I've heard it's not great.
No.
Everyone says the worst 18th hole in Gap. Is that true or no?
I think Coatesville's 18th could throw its hat in the ring for worst in Gap.
Talk about a bad visual. That we didn't even talk about how bad the tee shot is on 18 there.
Right.
That's really like.
And it is funny. Recapping our rounds, we just did the exact same thing on 18. Just totally queefed a 2-iron right into that 17th fairway and copped out.
Just so total cop out.
I just had no idea.
Yeah, right.
It's just so uncomfortable. You can't even pick anything to.
Yeah, that is a really uncomfortable tee shot.
Yeah, but. The 18th hole is not that's not the bone to pick at with North Hills.
Yeah, it's not.
I would say it's a fun golf course, but I don't think it's up to task for a Philly Am qualifier or a Philly Am qualifying stroke play course.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit above its pedigree.
That's what it seems like to me, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of courses close to that area, too. It's not like sometimes you play a remote course, right? Where, like, if you were somehow playing at the Ridge at Backbrook, right, or something, you had to play some, like, rinky-dink course down the street as your other, 18-hole qualifier or something, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of suitors in that section, yeah.
Yeah. I would have loved to see, like, Squires.
Yeah, they never have anything out there, right? No. Yeah. Have you played there?
No.
Yeah.
No. I just know you can go
do whatever you want.
Yeah, basically a free-for-all.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the M qualifiers. Whatever. Not really mad that we're not playing in it. But we might have more on that. Might hang some lines, Slammer Sportsbook, get back in action. But yeah, let's go on to the Philly Mid-Am. Playing host at Commonwealth. Is it golf club or is it country club?
I think it's a golf club, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure, actually.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I didn't spot a pool or any tennis courts, but I didn't really look too hard either.
Yeah. But again, Beau, you played in it.
I showed up.
You showed up.
Yeah.
Maybe that was about it. But I want to hear from you, at least. What did you think of the golf course? Like, tournament conditions. The vibes obviously weren't excellent out there. Right?
Yeah.
But maybe let's go through your round first, and then we can kind of recap what happened around you.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about out there. I'll start off with the conditions. I thought the conditions were actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
The greens were they had on the board like 11.6, I think they had.
Oh, they have a board up there.
They felt a little slower than that to me. Not saying I'm like the exact I have this exact calibrated stint meter in my head, but right. They seemed a little bit slower than that. But they were true. I thought they were greens that you could just really roll some putts in on.
Holing speed, as we like to call it.
Yeah. And the greens to me out there aren't that tricky either. I thought read wise. I think I grossly misread one putt. Other than that, I was pretty much just like what I saw made sense. Mm-hmm. So pretty easy around the greens. The rough was thick, and obviously you have double trouble everywhere. So, going into this, I've never played well at a tee shot golf course, right? Any course that makes you really puts an onus on driving the ball straight, I've never played well at in like a serious tournament. Mm-hmm. I'm always a second shot golf course kind of guy. Like, give me a Huntington Valley, give me something like that, right? Where, it puts the onus on placing the second shot. So I had no hopes going into that, honestly. And as bad as I did post in the 84, I kind of left it like I wasn't even really disappointed. I mean, it was just kind of what I expected, kind of where I was at with my game at that point in time. But man, I had some crazy stuff going on out there. So the first hole... Dude, I hit the worst first tee shot you've literally have ever seen in your life, man. Like, you want to talk about a 360 no scope. Dude, I literally fired it into this tree. So I was so mind fucked, right? Because I didn't take a practice round, right? And I only played out there one time. So last time I played out there, they had a tee box pushed on the left side, right? Mm-hmm. They have a tee box on the right and the left there, right? Okay. So it's a totally different hole. Like, from the left side, it's almost like a slight draw. Right, and that's what I played it on. I remember it being a really comfortable first tee shot. I remember thinking like, oh yeah, at least I start on 1, not 10, right? Get off the tee. Sure. And I get on the first tee, and they have the tee pushed on the right, and they have this tree overhanging on the right where you have to hit a cut, right? Which I can hit, but I don't I don't trust it enough under pressure as my first tee shot, right? Yep. So I'm like, all right, let's just commit to the draw. Well, I committed to the draw, and I hit the sniper rifle, dude. I mean, I would say it's almost hands down like a top 5 worst shot of the tournament, and hands down the worst first tee shot on the tournament. Like, there's no like there's no doubt about it. Like, nobody hit even close to as bad of a ball as this. Really? It got like 50 yards in the air. It went like 50 yards left and just drove like the first pine tree it saw. Right. Just an absolute smother.
Like this one's killing the third base coach.
Oh, right? Yeah, he's not even getting out of the way. Like, he's just starting to jump by the time it hits him right in the knee. Like, there's no like if there was. It's one of those ones where, like, the spotter, like, it's going to take him 2 minutes to get back to where it was, right? He's 200 yards. Like, it only went 100 yards, right? Like, right. So the best part about it is we couldn't see. The sun was kind of in our eyes a bit. And so we hit that, and everyone's like, you should probably hit another one. I get up and hit another one. Left again, right? Not as left, but probably out of bounds this one. Again, we're thinking. And I'm like, at this point, like, you can't do the 3 retake. You got to leave. Not on the first tee. I mean, I got to try to find one of these, and I'll come back if I have to. Like, enough's enough, right? Sure. It's a spectacle, right? It's like you kind of go, is that his third? It's not going to get off the hole. We found the first one.
Okay, good.
And luckily, very, very lucky, because it was such a bad ball. It was probably the only hole in that course that ball would have stayed in play on.
Okay. That's a grade 5 starting the day.
Yeah. Anyway, I made a horrible double off of that ball. And then I get to the third hole and another just no scope out of bounds. This one was like, I mean, almost as bad. Just
foul
like
ball.
A complete sniper out of bounds where it just like 80 yards off the tee into the trees, right? Just a really like one of those ones that like only happens at like Commonwealth. You're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's a combination of like a bad swing and being uncomfortable.
Is this like a low ball too, or is it kind of a curvy one?
It's just like a low pull with like a little draw on it, just like a smothered pull. It just really, really gross, you know? Like kind of like the don't shoot off the flare, let's just smother the ball, right? So at this point, I'm thinking like I might not even really finish this place. Like, that's what's going through my head after that, because I'm thinking if I can't. I mean, these tee shots aren't in play anywhere, and especially not here. That was my last lost ball of the day, though. So I only lost the 1 on 3, and after that, I kind of like I didn't drive it good, but I kept it in play.
Right.
And then I was in the rough and just chopped it up for the rest of the day, pretty much.
Yeah, I got your card up here. Looks like you started with the old Boeing 747 to get out of the gate there. That's rough.
It's always nice to double the first 2 par 5s.
Right. It was double par double, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Double.
Yeah.
To a T.
That's not winning golf.
No. Yeah, uninspiring scorecard. Less inspiring than me. Just because I just get on the Express and you can just tell me I just wither away and make a million bogeys. At least you threw in some high numbers and then some pars and threw in a birdie.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad, but...
Yeah, like I said, out there, I hate to be the guy who makes... It's not an excuse. I'm not good enough to play a course like that at the moment.
Right.
It really asks questions of your game that I don't have the answers to right now.
Yeah.
I don't have the, the automatic, like, that's just the 250 ball down the center, right? I don't really have a club for that or a swing for that. Mm-hmm. But to add more onto the course, I was really surprised, because I left there thinking, if you could just play from the fairway there, right? Pretty easy golf course, I felt like, in my head. I'm like, the greens are relatively benign. They're rolling super true, right? And, the course is playing short, right? So if someone's hitting a 250 and straight, they're not really going to have much more than a 7 or 8 iron in their hand all day, right? And a lot of wedges. I just thought somebody ripped that place up. And we hung those lines talking about the Slammer Sportsbook. They were pretty bad.
Yeah, they were. I would say... The worst one I think we did was, and we were both complicit of this, after, I believe, the first round, the low round was 3 under. Mm-hmm. 2 guys shot 3 under. What was that? Our good friend Kevin Kramarski, and then, who was it was Sean Hughes. Yeah. Little Mill guy. Mm-hmm. They both shot 3 under. And I hung minus 6.5 as a winning total. You were behind me at 5.5. Mm-hmm. And to have the winner land 4 over is just... What a brick. Right? Yeah. What a complete brick from the handicapping standpoint.
Yeah, supposedly, I couldn't make sense of it, but supposedly it got a little windier, and I guess the pins were a little trickier. But to me, once again, I'm thinking, you have some guys shoot 3 under on that first day, right? And a lot of guys are just kind of seeing the place, getting their feet wet, feeling it out. I'm thinking someone's going to go the next day and turn it up a notch, I thought. Right?
Yeah, just naturally, holes,
right? Yeah, right. You're right. Just getting a groove, and like, I didn't think a lot of guys would do it, but I thought there would be a couple guys that would lift and separate, and no one really. And I think obviously the course was playing harder, but I think a lot of it out there too is the mindset that everyone's in. It's like you're just surviving out there, right?
Yeah, it's mental taxation.
Do you think there's something to be said about this? Do you think there's something to be said about when you don't have driver in your hand a lot? Because the longer guys out there. A few guys I talked to, like, there's basically like 2 drivers around out there. And do you think there's something to be said about when you take driver out of guys' hands off the tee and you put iron in their hand, that it just naturally trickles into like a less aggressive approach, like even like into your approach and second shots and just your overall mindset? It kind of turns into this like survival mode versus like you feel like when you picture guys going low, it's like it's the guys banging driver and being really aggressive, and out there like. The par 5s you can't really go for in 2, and it just kind of puts you in this just really just conservative state, right?
Yeah, I certainly agree. I think thinking about tournament play, it seems like, and I played there a while ago, probably a decade ago, so I don't really have a great reference on the place, but it seems like for a tee shot golf course where a lot of the the mental challenges off the tee, that it seems like, at least for me, I'm mentally weak. But guys, I mean, relatively speaking, like, you would be spending your mental energy a lot on the tee.
Right.
And kind of after you get it in play, you're kind of already tired at this point, and then I would say your decision making on a second shot is not as sharp as you probably would like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and over 54 holes, it just kind of wears on you. It just slowly trickles into like, and everyone's just playing tighter, and everyone knows that the course is playing hard, so everyone's like, par's a good score. My point is this: I really truly believe if you changed everybody's mindset, right, that out of the the 20 guys that were in contention going into the second day, like 17 of them would have gone way higher than they would have, but there would have been 2 or 3 guys that would have shot a lot better. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I'm not saying that the right mindset would be to go out there and play like an idiot. I'm not saying that. Yeah. But I think if everybody did that, you would have seen a lot lower scores. I think those scores were a byproduct of just the overall just mental taxation and just, conservative play from the field. Yeah. Well, that's what the course forces you to do. It handcuffs you. Right. And it looks like our champion was Zach Drescher out of Bent Creek Country Club. He shot 4 over 70, 72, 75. So pretty consistent stuff. He made birdie on his 18th hole, 54th hole. Very, very strong. So let's go through the stats. I have the stats pulled up here. If we go hole by hole a little bit here. Yeah. The 18th hole all week had 4 birdies. Number 1 handicap hole. Yep. Yeah. The 16th hole out there, which is a 195-yard par 3. I mean, most guys are hitting like a 6-iron on, right? 5 birdies all week. Flat green, too. Pretty flat green. Wow. Uphill, downhill? It's just neutral. Wow. 5 birdies all week. 5 birdies. Yeah. Yep. To get to your point about the second shots, is like, I was in this mode. This is how you know it was bad out there and you're a bad golfer. I just couldn't wait for the par 3s. Just so I'd have to hit a tee shot. No, really, I'm like, I hit every par 3 green because I was just so excited to get an iron in my hand. Right. Like, here we go, boys. Like, this is it, right? Yeah, yeah. You finally get a green light. You get a ball on the tee and a green light. Ball, right, right. It's like sticking at the free throw line, right? Like just right. You're just a guy just driving to the hoop with you just hope you get fouled. No ambition of putting the ball in the hoop. Right, right. Just just trying to flail your arms. Right? Yep. Hey, trying to get the foul call. But yeah, I did want to ask you about the golf course. I know you said it's very tight, right, with trees and stakes and all that. Did you ever feel like it was overgrown? Did you ever have like stuff in your way? No. Or was it just more like... I would say like another month or 2 from now I can see that in spots, but because it's so early in the year, the jungle hasn't really come to life yet, right? But it's jungly, man. I mean, yeah, for sure. It's... I could see it like on the 10th hole, like on the left side, kind of getting like creeping in there. Okay. There's a couple holes out there. I mean, not the Bash Commonwealth, right? Yeah. I don't think it's a hot take to say that it's a bad golf course. I think that's kind of assumed, right? Mm-hmm. There's a couple holes out there that are really, really bad. Like the 11th hole par 5, and this is a great example of it because you had a solid field out there, right? It's a 548-yard par 5. 23 birdies on the hole all week. 0 eagles. Wow. Because it's like a hard dog leg left. There's a blind stream. You have to play it as a 3-shot hole. Mm-hmm. And it's just a wedge contest and a putting contest? Yeah, like it puts no... Like, the best you're going to do with the drive is hit the like 260 in the fairway, which would be fine if there was a runoff behind the green and there was all this room to like... Yeah, if you had options. Yeah, but it's just poorly designed. The stream runs across. It's well bunkered. The green's severe. It's like... Even if you hit 2 miracle shots, you're still probably going to struggle for birdie. You're just going to make par. Yeah, exactly. You're going to get one up there. You're probably going to chip it to 10 or 15 feet, and then you make it 1 out of 10 times or 2 out of 10 times by the numbers. 11's really, really bad, and 18's horrific. Is it really? Because you can't hit driver on it. Ugh. It's a 460-yard hole, and you got guys hitting 4 irons and driving irons and hybrids as a closing hole. I mean, that's very lackluster. Really deflating, right? So what are guys left with into that hole? 190. Two bills? Yeah, almost? 190, 180, 190. So, it's just that like the architect's just trying to force you to hit that shot, right? He's I don't think Arnie or Ed Say, whoever really did the course, I don't think they put a whole lot of thought into that place, right? No. Like I don't think he's trying to ask really any questions other than that's just how can we squeeze a course on this wet piece of property, right? Yeah, and that kind of goes to my next point is like I don't feel like there's ever a more
humid, awful walk in July than Commonwealth.
Oof.
Like, doesn't that get like steamy and low and buggy?
Yeah.
And that just seems like that you're basically bring your machete through the Viet Cong jungle. Right?
It's the pits. Like, that's really like the pits of golf. I always go back to as a kid just thinking of some of those just awful days where you just trudged around and you're like, the last thing you wanted to do is be out there playing golf. And
right.
Commonwealth is just the epitome of that. Like, I couldn't imagine walking there in the summer. Like, that's almost like just like a kill me now kind of vibe, right? Really, like, you're just out there, like, you're getting bit up, you're chopping almost the place to bits. And if you're walking out there, you start losing balls. Like, it's
yeah. Obviously, you got a tamer version in May, but I'd be curious to see what the wildlife. Yeah, and is it one of those? And again, it's been a while since I played. Can you even play out of the jungle or no? It's just Instagon.
Nah,
it's just like we're dropping here.
They have a couple section of like wind chimes. Like on 15, there's like 14 to the right there. There's a bunch of trees. Like you can play out of there, but it's just like it's one of those ones. It's like you might as well take the most aggressive window because it's the same difficulty as tipping out sideways. Like there's a million trees in your way. You might as well just try to get through them.
Yeah.
I hope I don't really ever play that course again. I didn't leave there like mad or anything, but I'm like, this was kind of a nice send off to Commonwealth for me.
Yeah. So we had Drescher taking the title at 4 over, John Rusk and Mike Davis and Scott McNeil, three really good players at 6 over in second.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a quartet at 7 over, Brock Kovac, John Brennan, John Lally, and Kevin Komarski, who was actually in the mix for a good part of that final round. But I would say those are 7 really good players, 8 really good players.
That's the thing; you can't fake it around out there. So it's not saying it's like one of those bad courses where it's like, like you have to hit quality golf shots.
Yeah.
It just really puts an onus on the tee shot, like I said, and it really hamstrings those guys who have some length, and that's kind of where they gain their shots.
Right.
So I guess looking at that, knowing those players, it kind of makes sense.
But that is crazy because what was the winning score at Old York Road last year?
I think Mecca was the only guy who shot even, I think, or something.
Okay.
I think everyone else was over par.
Yeah, that's crazy. Commonwealth 4 shots higher.
But they didn't even play it even close to tipped out. It wasn't even close to tipped out. I mean, they had another 300 yards they could tackle in the back there.
Yeah, it was only 67
the first day, 68 the second. Yeah. Well, they did play it at 69, I guess, the last day. So they did stretch it out a little bit. But, yeah, I don't know if they're going to be returning there anytime soon. We'll see. But the tournament was well run, as always. It was a good time. It was good catching up with some guys. So, at this point, until we get any better, that's kind of all we're trying to do out there, essentially, right? Just be in the field and see some people. And
just get in the mix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do we got?
We got the Jersey. Speaking of Mid-Am, we have the Jersey Mid-Am coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we previewed the qualifier at Little Mill that I just totally ejected on, but you made it into Rock Spring, and it's going to be playing host at Union League National down the shore.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
You excited for that?
I am pumped for that. I love that format.
Yeah.
1 round of stroke play, top 16 get in for match play, and then match play from there. So it's a fun format. That's a really fun golf course. So I think I can't see myself really looking forward to a tournament much more than that for the rest of the year. Honestly, I mean, I really would like to play well in that one.
Yeah,
I really would, because that's a place you'd like to have a long week at. You're down the shore in June, right? The weather, should be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Conditions should be really like everything kind of matches up. We're like, hey, if I play well, this could be a really special week.
Yeah, it's a place you really want to show up with some game.
Yeah, you would really be disheartened to be in that field and just be out there hit those snipers I was hitting at Commonwealth and being like, this is sad. This hurts, right? This stings. It didn't really sting at Commonwealth because I had no ambitions of competing anyway, but it would hurt at Union League.
Right.
And then, real quick from a national standpoint, we'll touch on the 4-ball. Oddly enough, they're having that on Memorial Day weekend. I just couldn't believe that. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know who scheduled that, but anyway, it's running, right? The U.S. 4-ball at Philly Cricket Club. There's 2 local guys left. Was it Davenport and his partner? I don't know. I don't think his partner's local, but Will Davenport is a White Marsh guy. I think he splits his time between here and Florida, but he won the Mid-Am a few years back. And then 2 other guys that are Philly-based, John Salwin and Tug Mauld. I think they're still alive as well, right?
Yeah, they just won 2-1 in the first round of match play.
Okay. So 2 Philly teams left. That's pretty cool. That's a tournament I would just love to get in one day. It seems really fun.
Yeah.
And it's actually achievable. Like, we could get in, right? Like, it's not like...
We know guys that are, I would use the word very relatable games to ours that have played in it, right? Yes. So it is attainable. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, it's not like the Am or something where it's like an absolute pipe dream, right?
Yeah. But Philly Cricket's strong. They play both Wiss and Militia Hill in that.
Yeah,
so
sure. Yeah.
And good to get all 36 of those holes in there.
Yeah, and then next year it's at Plainfield, so it's local again, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So the USGA loves this area. I mean, they had the Am at Ridgewood and Arcola recently, right? All within our section. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they had the women's PGA at Baltusrol.
Yeah.
They have the women's Open this year at Lancaster.
And then isn't the men's USM at Marion when?
Yeah, Marion and Philly Country in 26. Same year that Aronimink has got the PGA Championship.
And speaking of Philly, you recently joined there.
Yep.
How's that project coming along out there?
It's great. They finished the Centennial 9, the third 9 there 2 years ago. Again, Jim Nagel is doing all of the work there. They have 3 9s there. They just finished the spring 9. The front 9 of the big golf course. Looks fantastic. Had an opportunity to walk it with the membership, as well as Jim going through kind of his thoughts and kind of what are the major changes to the golf course since the restoration, kind of a lot of the design intent behind the restoration. I think the vast majority of the restoration was the increasing of the size of the greens. So I think Jim was saying they got 11% more pinnable locations per green.
Okay.
On that spring 9. They added some length, and then they restored the bunkers to the original Flynn design.
In the couple pictures you did send me, he really did a nice job of capturing those Flynn bunkers. Because there's not many guys that are restoring Flynn's work right now. So I'm always curious to see like how, because his bunkers were really unique, very unique for that time. I would say like Ross's bunkers and some of that stuff can kind of blend together. Whereas like Flynn had a very distinct.
Yeah, you know
bunker.
When you see him.
Like him and like Banks had like the two most. They were like complete opposite ends of the spectrum, right? With Banks with like the big drop offs and the steep faces versus Flynn with the more of like the rolling, right, like bowl shaped bunkers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
Yeah, it seems like they added length on 3, 4, and 5, and they took out a bunch of trees on around 5, so you can kind of see that whole area down there as well.
They take that one overhanging tree out.
Yeah, that's
why was that ever there?
I
used to scare the crap out of me. I've seen like little pull hit that and kick in the water.
Right.
Ugh. And it's such a good hole. I love that little hole.
And 5, I think they fixed that bunker on the left. That bunker on the left had no
sand. You go in there.
Now they sanded that out, and then instead of the real campy woodwork on the kind of holding up the...
Yeah, I don't like that.
They put in a nice stonework there too. So
that's a place that the pedigree of that, like the stone wall doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. You kind of need like a certain vibe, and like that's the vibe of that place. Yeah. Right. Like it's like the Baltusrol, like that kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it would look at Riverton. I don't know if it might work.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But again, they cleaned it up. I think the biggest change as well to the green complex was the 7th green. They made it so much. They made the 7th green so much bigger, adding some front right hole locations right smack dab in between those 2 bunkers, and then some back left hole locations with. It's not a Redan style hole, but still.
Everything flows to the back left there, especially when it's firm. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think there are a bunch of premier spots to play that hole. It's
that's
really
a great.
championship
That's a great golf hole. It's a really
Yeah.
great golf hole, and we talked about it before. And I think it's interesting because the heart of that golf course is really 4 through 7 or 3 through 7.
Championship
right?
stuff.
Yeah. If you play 6 as a 4.
Yes.
Right. That might be arguably a top 5 stretch in the section.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really as good as it gets. That was like toward the tail end. I feel like the narrative around Philly would be so much different. You know.
Yeah.
But I still like the rest of the course too. The back nine's good. I mean, outside of a couple holes, like 15, and we've talked about this, right?
Yeah, and so
we both don't like 15.
And
right?
Jim hates. I talked to Jim too. Jim hates 15 as well.
Jim doesn't like it either.
Yeah, because and I think
He's just being true to the design. Like, he just wants to do Flynn right and doesn't want to make any changes to it.
Yeah, like the phrase that he was echoing the entire time was restoration of design intent.
Yeah.
I know he kind of threw around some ideas about how to improve holes and maybe make them a little bit better. Like, I know he talked about on 8 putting a fairway closely mown runoff behind the green as kind of a way to accentuate that hole. But again, that's not something Flynn does.
Right.
So at the end of the day, he's not going to do it.
Right.
Right. But he thought, like, hey, this might be an interesting idea to improve the hole. But again, no.
I know. I always struggle with that because it's like, obviously Flynn was a genius. And if you did something for 100 years later that made his course better, I'm sure he would give you the thumbs up on it, right?
Right.
It's like I always feel that way with like our 16th green at Riverton. It's like one of the worst greens in the section.
Yeah.
Right? It's horrendous.
Yeah.
And like Ross was a genius, especially with putting surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt that he would say that thing. Like, why have you guys not fixed it? You're just fixing it just because I did it 100 years ago, and the thing.
Yeah, technology changes, agronomy changes.
Right, like, the greens probably sank 3 or 4 feet over the years. Right,
it's green just, speeds.
Yeah, do what's right. Like, do what's sensible. Right.
Right.
So to me, like, if a runoff made the hole better, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't have runoffs back there because they didn't have the equipment to maintain them.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyway, that's cool that at least he's, I get that, because you also don't want a guy who's just going rogue and just like ruins the integrity of the course either.
Yeah.
Right. And you go there and you go, this doesn't look like.
Yeah, you distort the original designer, right? You just totally.
Especially when it's Flynn, and especially how good that place is.
Yeah.
So 15 still, they didn't do anything to that green. That green just sucks.
I think they're still in discussion. Like, the plans aren't laid yet for Mill. The second 9.
Okay.
Because they're going to break ground on that in August and be done by the spring. Of next year. But I think he has some ideas for improving the bunkering on 15 and 16.
Okay.
Again, keeping with like the Flynn design. Because
there's no reason that 15 should be a good golf hole. 16, it's tough with that land. Like, you would have to really move some dirt, I think. I don't know. I don't even know what I would do to that hole. I would have to play around with it. I still think it would benefit from some type of shelf where your balls could land on and give you a flat lie if you hit the perfect shot, right? You know, like something where I know that would be tough with divots and stuff, but I don't know. Something's got to change there.
Yeah, I just think the risk-reward profile on 16 is all whacked out.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of just like rolling up there, and like it just doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
especially as a 16th hole. Yeah, it's a good green too.
Yeah, it's a cool shot.
Yeah.
Right, but the journey to get there is just terrible.
Right.
It's
kind of like the second shot on 17. It's almost like back-to-back holes like that. Like the second shot on 17 is so championship and really good, but the drive. Like we were saying, why is the tee not moved over to the left there?
I know.
Why is it not behind the 16th green?
And it's weird because on the card it says 470 from the black.
Yeah.
But again, they just pitched
They tucked that tee all the way on the right. It makes no sense, but they put a tee there.
Yeah.
It's just it's awful. It really is awful.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully, some good stuff there with. I mean, he did a great job on the first 2 9s. So.
He did some really good work at Springhaven too. I don't know what else he's done in the area.
Did he do Lancaster?
I'm not sure on Lancaster.
Because he was up the morning of that. He was up there pinning locations for the Women's Open, so I don't know.
Maybe he has a tie there. Yeah,
I don't know if he had.
I know they've done some cool work there. I saw a picture. They blended that second fairway and that first fairway together.
Oh, did they really?
Awesome. That second hole's really good now.
Yes.
It was already be a good hole, but now it's like, man, this is like.
That's strong.
Really good.
That's a strong opening 6 holes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the front nine's so good there.
Yeah.
Man. Oh my god. Yeah. So good.
Yep.
The back nine's just demanding. It's got some good holes, but it's more demanding. The front nine's got so much character there. Mm-hmm. I was really hyped up when I played there. I couldn't believe how good the first, like you said, I would say almost the whole front nine. I said a 9. The first 8 holes I think are really good there. That par 3/8 is incredible.
Yeah.
Really strong. And 7's like, I guess you could say like a little goofy, but I liked it.
The par 5?
Yeah, it's well. It's a little. I
like it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And then the fun kind of stops after the 11th hole, par 3.
Then it becomes like kind of like plodding along, long holes. And
it just gets difficult.
It runs out of character. The 11th hole's awesome too.
No, I know, but the fun stops after that
you're
tee
right.
shot.
No, you're right.
After that tee shot,
yeah, the fun's over, and now it's big boy shots from there on out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out there and checking that out with you. That's going to be fun. Do we have anything else?
I guess maybe do we want to talk about what's next in the qualifying circuit? We talked about you have the Jersey Mid-Am coming up. We are both obviously not playing in the Philly-Am.
Yep.
But I think the next thing for us is the...
Any chance you caddy in that or no?
What's that?
No chance you caddying that this
If
year?
I get in the Jersey Mid-Am?
No, in the
Philly Am.
I know you were on the bag for Kevin.
I know. If I get laid off, maybe. But that's a big if.
Which is there's a chance. It sounds
right.
like,
yeah, it's a non-zero chance, right? So we'll see, right? I don't think I'm raving to get Mickey D's again like last year.
It's tough caddying for a guy who doesn't take care of you on the meal end, and that hurts. After a long day out there, and you're chomping on some McDouble.
Especially weather delays and all that stuff. And
is that even what they're called? McDoubles? Is that right?
A McDouble.
I just make that up.
They might have a McDouble.
Yeah.
They definitely still have the Big Mac.
Yeah, the Big Mac. That's. Yeah.
I don't know if they have a McDouble still.
Yeah.
I don't want to find out though.
Nah.
Nah,
that's tough.
So we'll see.
Yeah, the only thing we have to come up is that we can both are playing in Jericho.
Yeah, that's June 19th. Yeah, so end of June.
Cool.
So we got some time to right the ship.
Muster up some game, yeah.
Or at least in my case, right the ship. Seems like you're kind of going along.
I mean, I'm fresh off an 84. I mean, there's not a whole. Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's it. So I think next time we gotta try. We said it last time. We got lazy or we got busy, but we gotta do a Philly Am preview.
Yep.
And
I think we can commit to that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll catch up on some of this other stuff, and by then I guess the Mid-Am will be done, and yeah, so there'll be some stuff to talk about. All right, as always, guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate all the support, and yeah, we'll catch up with you guys in like 10 days or so.
Yeah, thanks, guys.